Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom with Katharina. I want to give you today a few more explanation in the SkyView Astrology because I have quite a lot of questions. So I want to answer these questions today, and then on Monday we have a half moon, and I want to look into this for a moment. So let's have a look at this chart here. I have made a slideshow and I have done already a video on that, but just here to really quickly update again for new viewers who are not familiar with the SkyView astrology. So it is very important to know that, and these are facts that I'm talking about, that SkyView astrology is the real star constellation. Like if in the moment you look up in the sky, that's what you see. Now, the tropical Western astrology, what usually is used today, is inaccurate to 28 degrees. That means that they work with a picture that was 2,000 years ago in the sky. Now, one thing that is really important to know is that we have been deceived on so many levels, and especially also, those who follow me also for a while and who are on a spiritual journey, they know also the whole story about religion, about control and all these things. So of course, if we would know the real truth about astrology, we would be much, much more powerful. So I believe, and I have many who believe that too, that something has been changed in astrology for us, that we cannot find out our true curriculum. Because the astrology does not tell you who you are, but it does tell you the curriculum of your life. Once you understand that, you know what you're here about and what you're supposed to do, then life is much easier, because then you can really relate to what is in your life in the moment. Now, see, this is that SkyView chart that I usually use. So on the outer ring, we have the real star constellation connected with some lines that it's easier to recognize. So we can see that in the center here, we have the Western tropical astrology. This is a help for us because it's much easier to calculate. If you put everything 30 degrees, then it's very simple to work with it. Because the outer ring, you can see that, like, for example, here, that side is much, much bigger than, for example, this one here. But you will see it afterwards closer. So I will, let me see, I need the next picture. Okay, here. So 2,000 years ago, when we look at the chart of this time, you can see here that this here is the, here is Uranus. See, Uranus is exactly here on on 0 degree of Aries. That is today, and we can see that in Western astrology, that Aries will be just about to enter gosh, I cannot talk anymore. I still have a retrograde planet in my progression, so excuse me. So you can see that here in the Western tropical astrology, that Uranus would be at the last degree of Aries, and here in SkyView astrology, just entering Aries. So this is much more easy to see also when you look at the real SkyView picture, how it is in the sky. You can see here the planets all being together with Venus, Moon, and you can see here the conjunction here, Sun, Moon, Venus. And this is very important to know, because if you are working with a constellation that is 28 degrees apart from the real sky, you get a lot of false information. So a lot of people, it's for example, who believe they are, say, Cancer or Leo or Virgo, whatever, they actually, first of all, they are not, because the sun represents your consciousness and not who you are. But they are mostly born in the sign before. So we can have a look at the next slide. So the planets, what they are made is generally, we have a circle, we have a cross, and we have a moon. The circle is about consciousness. The consciousness, and the dot inside is the divine. You know, a circle is an extended dot. The cross, that is what we have here on the planet Earth, is materialization. We are actually all on the cross because we are living in a body that is within polarity. So we have two directions. We have the direction, the horizontal direction, which is our linear time. And we have the vertical direction, which is the connection to the divine. Now, this in the center here is where the focus should be to balance both the vertical and the horizontal line. The moon is the receptor. Like the moon is the planet where we receive. So you can see when we look also at the planets of the 7 weekdays, we have Sunday, the sun, moon, Monday, Mars, Tuesday, Mercoledì, Martedì. This is in the Greek, in the Italian, Latin languages. Then we have Mercoledì, Mercury. That also is in Italian. We have Jupiter. We have, you see, the moon is standing on the cross. We have Venus, the circle, and the cross below. And Saturn, the moon is hanging on the vertical line below the horizontal line. And then it comes again sun. And this represents our reincarnation cycle. This is the planets we have, personal planets to work with. So we have sun, we have consciousness, we have moon, we have feelings, we have Mars, we have energy. And then comes Mercury. Mercury represents, if you want to say something I am, then use Mercury, but not the sun, because Mercury represents how we function. Here is the input, the moon on top of the cross. Here is information coming in. Then we have the circle. This is the place where we process things, where our thoughts are, where we think and feel, the consciousness. And then out of the input, whatever coming in, something goes out. So for example, if we have an idea, we can manifest it. We maybe talk first, we write it, we draw something, we manifest something. That Mercury represents how human beings function. Now, Jupiter, we have Jupiter and Saturn as kind of teacher. We can explain that a little bit like this. When we have also in Tarot, for example, in the minor arcana, we have the up to 10, and then we have the knight and the king and the queen. So this is a little bit like the king and the queen, the next octave. These are planets that are defining the life quality also. So the moon is standing on the cross. So when we are exploring, the moon is on top of the cross, means we are moving beyond boundaries, we're expanding. And Saturn here is the opposite. This is the soul in the underworld. That is the soul exploring. And between the two of them is Venus. And Venus is the planet of manifestation. Now see, Venus does not have an input. So Venus is actually the divine within that is creating whatever we create in our life. Mercury is in that way connected also in Gemini with our mind, with our intellectual mind. Venus is connected with the heart. So when we have the whole week, we work with all these planets, and Saturn is the day that will be when we die, and then we are reincarnated again. So it's actually the whole cycle is shown in these weekdays, 7 weekdays, 8 is the one again. And you can also see the old Mars sign was a cross, and then they made it into an arrow. So generally, whenever we have an arrow, it's something in motion. And Venus, we have Venus and the Earth sign. So Venus is moving, we are creating into the Earth. And when we look at the sign here, the last one is the Earth, is like the cross is over the circle. So this is matter over spirit. And with Venus, we have spirit over matter. Now, there is a way beyond, and we all know that there were masters in any time that have achieved enlightenment and have moved beyond. So when we have the reincarnation cycle here up to Saturn, and this is also why in many ways Saturn is depicted as the enemy. Saturn is not the enemy, but just imagine if we would have no end to something, it would never have a new beginning. So it's also like you can use astrology on different consciousness level. So if you go on a satanic consciousness level that is very low, that is very shady, very negative, you can attribute negative things to all the planets. But if you look at it from a higher perspective, you can see the part of our journey from a more enlightened perspective. So when the soul goes into the underworld, we have discovered a planetoid a few years ago. I think it was in 87, if I don't remember right. Don't take me on that one. But you can see this is a planetoid that Western astrology does generally not accept it or has kicked it out already, because the planetoid is not like within our circle. It makes a big loop, an ellipse in a way that connects Saturn with Uranus. Now you see the soul from the underworld. Here we have the moon is on the vertical line upwards. And here we have a symbol similar like Uranus. So we can see that the consciousness here is like the soul is going home. The soul has no more horizontal line on top of it. The soul becomes free. And that is the part of enlightenment. That's when I make this little light here. So that when you have certain insights and understand the cycle and understand that you are a God having a human experience, a divine being here trapped in a body, once you understand your power, you can move beyond. You can only move beyond when you know. It's like, it's very simple. Whatever you know, you can use. Whatever you don't know what you don't know, right? So the journey here is of the enlightenment. That's the story of beyond the cross. And we find that in many different mythologies, because as I said, we are kind of on the cross right now. We are the dead ones, and now we have to awaken to life, to Uranus. That is the motion here. And Uranus in the positive way is enlightenment. And then we have Neptune. When we are enlightened, we move to the other realm. We expand our consciousness into the unknown. And see here now with Pluto, the last one that also is often not accepted anymore by Western astrologers. That is a very, very difficult topic too. But if you look just from the symbols, just from the sign, you have the moon on top of a cross, and inside you have a circle. It is like Venus plus the moon. So what can that be? We have Venus, we have female and male energy also here, like I didn't mention that. Sun is male, moon is female. We have the moon and the sun together. This looks like a seed in a womb, and then the cross is manifested. So you can see the goddess, the fertile womb, the creator, creatress manifesting. So once we move beyond, we are enlightened, we can access the unknown. We can start to create our own life. So there's enormous beauty here in this astrology. Now, just to give you here the overview again about the chart. So we have the sun is consciousness, the moon is feeling, Venus then is creativity, abundance, the feminine, Mercury, the way we process things, that is connected with the mind, that is connected with the human being, our expression as a human being, Mars, our energy, the masculine, Jupiter is moving beyond boundaries, and Saturn is the end of something, restriction, but also clarity. Saturn represents the winter. Winter, imagine we have like all the leaves are fallen from the tree. You see only the structure, like only the skeleton. This is the moment we let go of all the camouflage, of all that what we don't need, what is not necessary, to be either reborn, and that will be a physical death, or to be enlightened, which would be moving beyond, as I said before. Okay, so this is an explanation, again, a bit shorter than the longer video I have made before. And we go here now quickly to the chart that I have made for Monday for the half moon. Something is very interesting. You can see here we have nearly equal aspects here, but the sun is in conjunction with Venus. And of course, always half moon is a square into Gemini. And then we have here two, the green planets are those that have a meaning of last chance. And after the last chance is like, I usually say the divorce aspect is when we have to let go of something. So it is very important to see now here, especially from Saturn, when we look at the moon here, we have a last chance aspect. And when we look here from Jupiter to the sun, we have a divorce aspect. So this is giving us a very powerful message. It is like really now, it is, you have the chance, you have another chance to go deep inside. And moon in Gemini means to look at your intellect once again and to feel it. You have your thoughts, and then you go into your thoughts and you feel them, and you feel if they're right or not. And you will feel when you go into that many information that we receive do not feel right. So go into this. Kinesiology is a fantastic tool to help you to discriminate what is going on so that you really can see that something is right for you and something is not. Your muscles always tell you the truth because your whole body resonates. And you know also, like when you get a good message, your whole body resonates in a positive way. When you get a bad message, something really bad happened, your body goes like in shock, and that is a negative message. So when you feel whatever, does it feel good to you or not? Go into your heart, feel it, and then you will know exactly what is right and what is wrong. And these two trines that we have, some Sun, Venus here to Mars, and here also to Saturn, back to the moon. That means that if we trust and if we use the gift, the great gift that we have of our feelings, which is a Venus and moon connection, it's female in any way, that we can figure out what happened and don't listen to the mind that will deceive us, that will give us not the right information. Moon, we have the Mercury here in opposition to the retrograde Chiron. And remember just before what I told you about Chiron. Chiron is that little planet to eat, that is the gap, the bridge between the inner and the outer planets. And this is now the mind itself, the ego itself is usually not in harmony with that principle because the ego wants to survive under any circumstances. It fights for life, which is right, which we need. But on a higher level, you don't have to give up life to move to a higher level. You won't give up life anyway. You just give up the body, you give up the ego. And that is the fight here. And now we can see that is the challenge in the moment of this happening, that we are faced in a way, with this awakening. And this awakening has something to do with enlightenment. And for most people, enlightenment is not just one boom, big flash, and then they know everything, but it's step and step and step and step forward. You step a little bit more and more and more in the light. You have insights, because like if too much light would just burst in, you would be blind or you would die. Very simple. So since we have this heavy physical body, that what is enlightenment and awakening, that is a process that cannot happen in a day. So it will take some time to move there. So the moon is in Gemini. Now we have to go to feel our thoughts, to really feel if they feel right for us, and then let go of everything what does not feel right to us anymore. Now comes time to really make decisions, to really make those decisions that help you. you cannot make much plans in the moment. This is also okay because the whole world is in a shifting energy. But that you can make plans afterwards, you first have to clear all the garbage out of your mind, of your head, of yourself, that once we step into the new thing, we are ready. And what is also very important is that we visualize that positive future that we imagine, but don't fixate on it, because there will be so much more coming up in the time that is coming that we cannot even imagine. We have a technology in the moment given to general humanity that is probably around 50 or even more years behind. There is much more. So just imagine, and all these patterns that also have been stolen and hidden away suddenly come out. We have so much more. So just keep on visualizing your wildest dream, what you want, what you would like to have for yourself in life, what you can imagine what can be, and move on with it, with every new insight, with everything that comes up. Stay on top of the information. It is also, I believe, that's what I do in my network. I believe it is important to know what's going on outside, but don't stick with it. Look at it and say, okay, there we are. Look at it and move forward and visualize the positive outcome that you want. But don't be fixated. That is always like here, the limit that we have right now is here, but with every move we go, the limit goes further, 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 further. And this is the great thing in the next few years, that we will have so many new things to play with, to experience, that our life will be fantastic. Even if in the moment, I know for many it's hardship. Don't give up. Don't give up. Because we are very, very, very close. And you also know that always at night, just before the new light is coming, it's the darkest. And that's exactly, you can see that more or less in every movie, that always just before that hero reaches the goal, there is one big challenge coming up. One big challenge. And that's what the whole world is going through in the moment. So please stay positive. It will come, you will see. Just go forward. The energy is good, and we can really move on now, and we start to visualize our future. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the videos. Thank you very much. See you soon again.